Welcome to Life, Lafter Divorce, episode 23.
23?
Yeah.
We're at 23 already?
We are.
That's a big number for me.
For you?
Yeah, well, because I was a big Michael Jordan fan growing up. I
did not know this.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I followed him in North Carolina, and then when he got drafted, and the 23 and the Bulls, and I've seen him play a few times, and we had one sort of encounter at one point, but let's not talk about that.
Now I kind of want to know what this encounter was. You can't just bring something up and say, but we're not going to talk about that.
Has nothing to do with Life After Divorce, so therefore we don't talk about it here.
All right. Oh, fine. Has he been divorced?
Yes, he has.
Maybe we should have him on sometime.
Hey, Mike, come and join us one day.
Yeah, we want, if anyone out there listening knows Michael Jordan, we would love to have him on as a guest and talk to him about how is his life going after divorce.
I'm going to guess he's like most other athletes and don't want to talk about stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Well, we don't have to talk about it. We just talk about his life after.
That's a good point. So if anyone does want to come on our show
and talk about life after divorce,
that'd be great. We would be interested in hearing about that.
Oh, that's why we're here, you guys.
Is it?
In fact, if you want to reach out to us and tell us what's on your mind, if you want to hear about a specific topic, if you just want to give a shout out and say hello, feel free to email us at info@lifelafterdivorce.com, or you can just go on iTunes and Stitcher and rate, review, and subscribe. Boom.
Done.
There you go. We look forward to hearing from you. We do.
Yes, we do, actually.
Yeah.
We enjoy the emails. Please keep sending the emails and letting us know what's going on in your life, and we'll give you a shout out.
That's right. We will. And you know what? I look forward to a lot of things in life. You know what? One thing after a breakup that I don't look forward to doing right away sometimes?
Getting out of bed?
Well, there's that. Yeah, combing my hair. No, it would be...
You don't like doing that anyways.
Is that obvious? No, I think dating. Sometimes...
dating sucks.
Yeah, it's like... some people love doing it and they're great at it. And it's just...
Yeah, we call them the serial daters.
Right. Right. But then there's this thing, it can be fun. Yes, I will give it that. It can be fun. But there's also somewhat of a dread after being in a relationship for a period of time. Like, I have to go start all over.
Yeah. And then each new first date, you can only do so many. Well, you can do a lot of them, but after a while they get sort of old.
Yeah.
And yeah, dating somebody is different, but going on continually new dates all the time,
yeah,
it's just a lot of effort.
It's a lot of work, man.
Yeah,
gotta always be on your game.
It's like going to work all day long and then you got to go back to work at night.
Yeah. Well, that's a different kind of dating. If that's your job.
Well,
maybe. No, but it is a lot of work, and I think it takes you have to develop that skill set. Right? You have to get in that mode. You have to get in that mode to do it. And I think it's, when I think back in my day, think way back to when I dated a lot before I was married. Not dated a lot, but before I was married and even after, and I dated quite a bit. It's different now. The older I get, the less enthusiasm I have for it.
Yeah, I don't know. Dating in the whole has changed a little bit with apps and and the swipes and the whatevers.
It's changed tremendously.
It's changed, but then our take on it has also changed. We've gotten older, and dating is, like you said, effort, work. Yeah. We want different outcomes. When we were younger, at least for me when I was younger, I wasn't looking to get married. I wasn't looking for anything specific, just someone to hang out with and have some fun.
Right.
And now you're looking for something different. So it's the whole checklist thing. Do they meet this? Do they meet that? It's just a different game now than what it was. Right.
It is. Well, and even where to find these people at our age. It's not like I'm going to go to the same
beach. We go right to
bars
the beach.
Or clubs or anywhere. Yeah. The beach. Sketchy. Depends on what beach you want to go to.
Everyone else across America is just like,
the
beach. Yes, go to the beach.
Yeah.
And you're saying it's sketchy. They will hurt you. You know that.
I'm kidding.
No, the beach is a little sketchy at times, though. We've been out there.
Well, it depends on what beach you go to. Like some beaches are fabulous and beautiful and amazing, and then some beaches.
It's also the time.
The time,
we go
yes.
out. We go out and ride in the morning at 5:36 in the morning. It could be sketchy.
It's like Central Park, beautiful by day, completely different at night. So keep that in mind, people.
But you're right. Finding individuals to go on a date, sort of a little more difficult. We are fine-tuned machines for working, doing our work, and coming home and getting our responsibilities done. And going to bed and doing it again.
Right. Well, and okay, most people our age, or a good portion of people our age, have children.
Yeah.
They have kids. now they're divorced, but now they're single parents. So add that on top of trying to get out of the house and go on a date. That's got to be crazy challenging, you know?
I wouldn't know.
I don't have any kids that I know of, so and you're like thanking the Lord right now. But that's got to be hard too. So
how do you do it?
That's a great question.
So there's the apps, as we've already talked about.
Right.
You got your matches and your whatever.
Your Match.com, your OkCupids, your
Plenty of Fish.
Your Plenty of Fish, your I don't know, what are some of the other ones?
I have no idea.
I don't even Tinder.
Well,
right?
that's an app.
Yeah, Bumble.
That's an app.
Right. You have like a ton of apps.
Yeah, you got your apps, you've got your online stuff, but that only goes so far, I think.
Right.
Because you can put yourself out there, and I've heard from some of my friends, no one clicks on it. No one comes, and then I get all these creepers or whatever. It's just, it's random. You don't know what you're going to get from those.
Did you ever try online dating?
I never did.
Oh.
And I never tried Tinder either. Because you have to actually have a Facebook thing for that, and I don't know how.
Yeah.
I am social media free.
The boyfriend is like a ghost.
You don't know me, and no one else does either.
Right? He actually walks around in camouflage all the time, so nobody sees him.
So yeah, I've never tried the apps. I've never.
Speaking of camouflage, some kids in high school had a camouflage car. I just had to throw that in there, but you'd never see it coming. Okay, never mind.
Oh,
it's true. That was true. That they had a camouflage car. You did see it.
Did you date them?
No, I did not. Mostly because of the camouflage car. No. Anyway, so
again, how do you find them? So obviously, there's the apps and there's
don't
the
drive
websites,
a camouflage car.
And don't drive a camo car. But there are other services out there.
There are other services, and you know what? And this is what I love about today's guest, because this is something that was it's kind of fascinating to hear about, because I had never thought about it. And have you ever been set up on a blind date?
Yeah, Mom did it. No,
your mom set you up on a blind date? What?
I'm kidding. No, I'm actually
just
kidding.
I don't think that you are.
No, I am kidding. No, I don't know if I've ever been on a true blind date.
Really?
People set you up, but you sometimes know the person.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever been on one where I've never seen or never known.
I went on a blind date. It was a nightmare. It was just terrifying. I got a cell phone like 2 days later. That was the reason I got my first cell phone. Yeah, there's that.
So like someone setting up with a blind date. This is what a matchmaker does.
Except they're professionals, so they actually do this for a living. They go through and they vet people for you. This is just the coolest thing, right?
It's an amazing job, an amazing service to provide for people who have been divorced or not even divorced or not been divorced.
Right.
But are so busy with life that it's just difficult to find somebody.
And even if I weren't busy with life at this point, I would be like, well, they can't do worse than me. So why not?
Yeah, new taglines. Matchmaker, I can do better than you.
I mean, come on. I mean, hey, it's kind of like, did you ever see that eHarmony ad where the guy says, well, how's that working out for you? Because she's like, I'm good. I'm on Match.com. And he's like, and how's that working? Then she thinks of all the horrible dates she's been on. Yeah. But I think this is, anyway, I think this is a really cool idea. I hadn't considered before or anything. Obviously, the boyfriend and I are not putting it to use at this time, but I really think this is really cool. And talking to our guest today was
and
really fun.
Not only is our guest just a matchmaker, she actually does styling and teaches you how to date and gives you feedback based upon your dates, which is amazing to me because feedback's always beneficial and you can learn from feedback. So her openness and honesty was just refreshing. Like if I've ever met a woman that was that open and honest, going down, digging the hole, aren't I, boyfriend? Yes, I am. That would be a refreshing change for most of the women that I've dated in my life. Having someone that open and honest.
Yeah.
Yes.
She was great. And I think she brings a lot of things, like she's like, hey, these things are really important. As much as we would like to say, like, first impressions, I mean, how to get prepared. If you've been in a relationship for a long time or you've had a hard time getting over your ex or something and you haven't, been eating anything but Cheetos and soda and not combing your hair, not combing your hair or staying in bed. Like, you know what? Sometimes we're ready for a big change and to maybe spruce up our wardrobe a little bit or do some cool. I don't know. I think it's cool what she's doing.
So tell us about her.
All right.
Because our guests are like, well, let's get
to the point already. Okay. So our guest today is Katy Clark. Katy Clark is going to be your new favorite dating coach. Her mixture of fun, positivity, and real deal style dating has invigorated the old school standards with her new school style. She has improved the lives of thousands by giving her clients off the cuff and real life examples. Katy is setting new standards for dating and pushing the idea that curb appeal matters and that this is a journey you should have fun on. Her belief is that you attract what you are, and that, with the right mindset, you can attract positivity and love into your life. Katy's positive attitude and work ethic have yielded her success in her professional and personal life. After achieving her second degree from UC Irvine, Katy began to work and study at a culinary school. Ultimately, her hard work paid off, and after her initial success of her small catering company, Katy opened a café in China where she served delicious and healthy meals to people from all walks of life. She also competed as a finalist on the Food Network Stars Season 7, where she showcased her light and luscious point of view. With her talent for food, fitness, and fashion, Katy is a force to be reckoned with. Her book, 7 Steps to Sexy and How to Get Your Game Back, will show you how you can achieve the total package you want and to be and to meet. Without further ado, Miss Katy Clark. Well, Katy, welcome to Lafter Divorce Podcast.
Thank you. I like talking and anything post-divorce and dating, we're definitely going to have a chit-chat today about that.
I know. I'm excited about this. I'm actually really excited to learn more about what you do as a matchmaker because this is something I don't have experience in with a professional matchmaker, just like the friends that do the occasional setup. And why do I keep going quotes with my fingers right now when I'm not quoting anything?
No one can see you, so it's fine.
That's
Quote, matchmaking, unquote. I'm not sure what we're quoting, but
I don't know what's happening right now.
So there, you've never dealt with professional matchmakers? It's like a new industry, isn't it? It's not new, but it's come out in like
it's
fast.
what Grandma Betty used to do. This is what I tell my clients. Grandma Betty used to say, "Oh, sweetheart, I know the nicest guy down the street," and you trusted that because you knew she really did know. She knew his family. He was vetted. And so it's
plus Aunt Betty's a creeper, but that's okay. So
Aunt Betty was sweet. What are you talking about? Aunt Betty only knew the sweetest ladies on the block, and they had nothing better to do. So, like us, we are, and we talked about this earlier. I'm a recruiter. I'm a relationship recruiter. It's just like in the big markets of CEOs finding those big top dogs. There's recruiters out there who are looking for the best fits. And it's what I do. And so I'm everywhere I go, I'm out and about looking, asking, introducing myself as a matchmaker. And it's a blast because I can talk to anybody, anywhere, and have a reason.
Right.
So it's dangerous.
I'm looking at the boyfriend. He's
that's interesting
thinking on this.
because I have friends who are headhunters for companies, major companies, and I've never thought of it as a relationship as being having a headhunter also.
Right.
So yeah, I'd like to hear more.
Well, and I always suggest don't put all your eggs in one basket. Usually I say don't put all your chips in one basket, like if you're eating Mexican food.
So use you and Aunt Betty? Both?
Absolutely. So I'm a big proponent of, I have a favorite app. It's Bumble. I love Bumble. It's easy, it's fast, it's swift. But there are rules when using online match, whatever. I always say if you're using a swiping kind of app, it's called the 10-3-1 rule. You're going to swipe on 10 guys. You're going to talk to 3. You're actually going to go on a date with 1. So it's truly a numbers game. It's just like a job. If you're out there hunting for a job, do you just put one job application in? That's it? No. You put multiples in. You see what's the right fit. People get so discouraged now. They think, oh, well, this one didn't work out. Or even today I got a text about someone who's like, well, did anybody like my profile? I said, well, sweetheart, you can't expect us to go get you a date unless you hire us. But, what else are you doing? If you want a good ROI, return on your investment, you have to have multiple investments that you're working on. So try them all, see what you like, take timeouts. There's definitely times where you need to take a timeout. And working with a matchmaker, there's multiple ways, and we can definitely talk about that.
So true. It's like buying a good pair of jeans, right? They're hard to find. So you go to several stores, you try on umpteen pair, and then you narrow it down to one, and then you wear those puppies out until there's holes in them.
Right.
Yeah, so totally.
But it's looking, it's finding. And, people will say, well, I want to meet somebody organically. Whatever. That's silliness nowadays.
Yeah,
when was the last time you walked up? And us ladies are always waiting for the guy to walk up to us in the grocery store while we're picking peaches. Yeah, it's just silliness. And, when boyfriend was single, when was the last time you ever approached a woman? And how'd that go for you?
See, I'm gonna this is gonna backfire on you because I met Leanne at a Starbucks and just introduced myself.
See, I love that story.
So it was organic.
It was. Yeah. I'm good with that. But how often do you do that? Did you do that when you were single? Was that an easy thing for you to do, or?
It doesn't happen very often, and it wasn't what I was looking for, and it just sort of happened.
So
not every woman asks you to watch her laptop while she uses the bathroom.
Oh, so wait a minute, there's a little background. Yeah. Did you think he was cute when you saw him?
Yeah.
Okay, so you were like, he's close to me. I'm going to ask him to watch my laptop, and you were like, sure.
Yeah.
Right. See, but so you kind of made the move. I'm a big proponent.
My bladder made the move
out of necessity, and that's a great thing. But I think that's the truth. Is nowadays it is an even playing field. Like women still want to be hunted, but men, especially post divorce, I and excuse the term, but they're like puppies. Their hearts have been broken. A lot of them have. The wives are cheating now more and more, which is a heartbreak. Yeah. And they weren't expecting this, and they're nervous, and sometimes women can be. For lack of a better term, biatches, They are not friendly and kind and polite back. So,
no, they are not.
Right? So tell me a story of somebody you maybe tried to talk to and she just was not even nice.
That happens more often than not. So, yeah, Leanne came to me and asked me, or didn't come to me, but she just asked me if I could watch her laptop. But when you're at a grocery store, at a Starbucks, at a bar, anywhere, you try to approach somebody, they come off as... most women that you approach come off as like, get out of my face. I don't want you here. And all you did was say hi.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't try to use any of the cheesy lines or anything. You just try to talk to somebody and most women don't come off as inviting in terms of like, let's have a conversation. Let's talk a little bit. Most of them are just like, get away from me.
They already have, you're the creeper. You're the one who's actually trying to talk to me. Yet everybody wants an organic meeting. Yep. So it's this like dichotomy of stupidity in the dating world nowadays. And I have a story. I was out with my she was gorgeous, beautiful neighbor. We're in Newport Beach at a fancy restaurant. And this like fun guy comes up to us. He goes, hey ladies. And she looks at him, she turns around, looks at him and says, no, I don't think so. And I was flabbergasted. My mouth dropped and I was so humiliated by her lack of hospitality and kindness.
Yeah.
And right now I think kindness is so sexy. Men love kind women. And so, but there's not a lot of it out there. They have this like chip and, they need to be softer and more feminine. And again, that's another like, oh, feminine. Well, he should like me for who I am.
And the only way that works from my experience is if you're in groups of people. So there's some reason we're all together as the group, then women are a little more
approachable.
Yeah, that's probably the best word to put there. Is they're at least willing to have a conversation. But other than that, if it's just a random sort of ask, you get probably 99 times out of 100 shut down.
Right.
Yeah.
And so for Sync Matchmaking, I'm the dating coach, and that's one of the things that I love to do is like, what's a quick soundbite? What's a good way to interject and meet somebody? And one of my favorite pickup lines, and think of a good pickup line that you guys have heard, because we should share pickup lines. Because my very first time I ever picked up a guy was 5 years ago, right after I got single. I was in New York. I just finished a Food Network TV show taping, and there was these two guys. It was Fleet Week. You know, they were sailors and they were cute, but it took me 35 minutes to go over and talk to them. Like I calculated, I kept looking at my clock. I'm like, come on, Katy, you can do this. You're friendly. I walk over, and of course, the one I think is cute was so unfriendly. And the not cute one, it was great. And we're still friends on Facebook. He's married with a kid, and I'm so happy for him. But
now he's listening. He's like, what do you mean I'm not cute?
Lost out. But this is my pickup line. And I feel like it covers kind of a nice basis here. I always say, you're adorable. What's your story? Now that works for me because I'm a girl. And adorable is actually the biggest compliment I can give a guy, because it means I'd take you home to my mom and I'd take you to bed. So it's that idea of like, you're kind of the cute little package that I'm looking for.
I better reconsider what I say to your nephew. I'm like, oh, that baby's adorable.
Right. But that's my line. So you can use your own adjective.
Yeah.
And then hey, you're adorable. What's your story? So, I'm out with my buddies tonight and I'm married, but I've had that line back, or what's my story? Well, I'm here visiting. And so it gives them an out if needed. And it makes it more casual. All right. Now, what are some pickup lines that you guys have heard?
Besides,
right?
Can you watch my laptop?
So we'll just stick with mine then. So
yeah, I don't know that I've ever used a line to talk to somebody other than just make eye contact and say hello. Like a smile, I think, is the easiest thing to make myself approachable, or to smile at somebody, and you instantly know if they smile back, they're yesing me, right? Not yesing like everything I might be thinking, but like to me, that's like, okay, I accept your smile. I'm smiling back. And then the next step might be just a hello or something like that. I think it's more of a step at a time, and a yes and, what comes next naturally.
So, you're the yes and person because that's your improv background. Yeah. For me, I've never had a go-to pickup line. You try to, sometimes you get a little inebriated, at least back in the college days. You get a little inebriated and you throw out
liquid courage.
Yeah, and then you just get demolished because it's a cheesy pickup line. But just in general, just trying to have like you said, 35 minutes. And for a guy, that's not, for most guys, there's some guys that can just go up there and say anything at any time, but most guys, it'll take a little time. And what I'll do in that time is try to make some good observations.
Right.
So when you go there, it's got to be like an icebreaker, something that you see going on with the group that they're with, and find an icebreaker to at least open up the conversation about why you're there. I won't maybe ask directly what's going on, but
the drink she's drinking, or
something.
You can tell there's something she's wearing or whatnot, things like that. And those are always great too. But if you're in a bind and that girl's right in front of you, right then and there, I mean, people lose opportunities all the time because of fear. And if we could all just relax a little bit about dating, you're not going to marry everybody, okay? So make friends in the process.
That's a big misconception amongst guys and women, I think, is that I want to find the one.
Right.
And so, but they don't take the numbers approach. They're like, I'm going to get rid of this person and this person, because for some reason there's something about them without me not even really knowing them. I'm going to just dismiss them already before. And then I'm like, that doesn't work. I have a friend who is a little younger than I am, and he wants to find the one, but he can't find the one. But I ask him, how many women have you dated? And he's in his 30s. I think he's really only dated maybe 2 or 3 women total for more than a couple months. So I'm like, how do you even know how to have a relationship?
Right.
You've got to get out there and experience things So you know what you like and what you don't like to have a good relationship.
Well, and that's odd because, I mean, nowadays it's disposable dating.
Yes.
You know, it's like you go down the conditioner aisle and there's 27, I mean, maybe 57 conditioners to choose. And we're talking about our hair today. Which one? It didn't work. Throw it away. Next one. And that's dating. And that is what's really sad. So I have another rule that I encourage people to do, and I call it the 3-3-3 rule. And date someone for 3 dates. Give a guy a chance, ladies. That's for you, ladies. He's nervous. I've seen time and time again on a date with me, guys are they're nervous.
Yeah.
And hopefully you are too. And I always think when someone's nervous, it's because they care.
That's a good thing.
So it's a very good thing. Yeah. And, girls want Rico Suave, and guess what? He's Rico Suave with everybody. He's like the Bachelor who says the same thing to 18 other girls.
Right.
Okay, ladies, that's not what you're really deeply looking for. And so you give a guy 3 dates, right? And then after 3 days, you have an honest conversation. No ghosting. Ghosting is a no-no. That's for 18-year-olds. You give an honest conversation. Say, hey, I think you're great. You're just not the right fit. I kind of liken it to shoes in a window, when you're at the mall. So you see a great high heel shoe and you're walking by and you're like, oh my gosh, I think I'm going to love this shoe. You go in and you want to try it on, but you're a size 7 and they only have a 7.5 and a 6.5. But you try them on still, don't you? You're like, well, maybe I can make these work. And the 6.5 too tight, 7.5 too big. At the end of the day, you love the shoe. It just wasn't the right fit. So you have to be honest with someone by 3 dates and say, hey, I think you're great. I've made so many guy friends because of that. They're like, you're really cool about it. And actually, on my very second match date, a guy did that to me. And we've stayed friends ever since. He's come to Christmas with me because he's here and he's single. And why not? Again, I'm not going to marry everybody. So make friends throughout the process.
That to me.
And then the other 3-3 is that after 3 dates, then you go for 3 weeks. And that should be a little bit more casual, more get to know his family, maybe see where he lives. Is that going to be something that you would be a part of a lifestyle? And then make a commitment after that and go for 3 months. I mean, you got to commit at some point. You keep dating 7 guys at one time or girls nonetheless, and it gets confusing. There's all these options and opportunities. So what's 3 months of your life to focus on one person that could really be a catch for you?
Right.
This sounds so adult.
I know.
Most people don't talk dating like this.
No.
It's all games to them.
Right. We should be dating like adults.
Yes.
I think too, I've noticed and I don't, not in my immediate friends, because a lot of my immediate friends are older and married and, are kind of settled into their thing. But what I hear from some of my younger friends, and I'm just making a generalization for the sake of this thing, but a lot of what I hear, and it's not even just younger people, but a lot of the single people I know, especially with women, there's a shift in their mindset that they're almost offended by men approaching them if they don't want to be approached. They're almost offended to the things. Like, I'm a little bit on the old-fashioned side, and I like to be feminine, and I like to be approachable. And oftentimes now I feel like that's seen as needy and weak. Like, sometimes people say kindness is sometimes viewed as a weakness in people. And I think that because I'm not putting on a thick outer shell and I'm not being this tough girl image, that I'm coming off as weak and needy versus someone who can just, have a disposable relationship at any time. And it's not to say that either one is right or wrong, but to respect who a person actually is, their authenticity and what works for them and what doesn't, but to say you need to be this way, you need to have this tough image, and you need to be able to sleep with someone and not worry about it the next day.
Right.
Or you blow the man off or have this thing where you can play these games. That, like, to me, that wouldn't work for me. That's not who I am. And I think a lot of us, going over the course of the years, like looking back, I've tried on different things, like what works in my dating life and what doesn't work in my dating life. And I think it's to the individuals to figure out what that is. But going back to your point earlier, I think that's what triggered it, is a lot of women, we think it's demeaning to be approached by a man and however they do it versus that's a flattering thing. It's no longer flattering to a lot of women to be approached in a way where a man
and they're
compliments
probably
them.
still going to be single for a long time.
Right.
And so the truth is I work with men all day long. They tell me their opinions. They go on dates. They give me feedback. and they love a feminine woman. I have never had a man, we encourage them to dress beautifully and confidently when they go out. I've never had a man complain about it when a woman wears a dress. Because here's the difference, ladies. I love a hot pair of jeans and heels. But you know what? He wears pants and jeans. So the one unique thing about me as a woman is I wear a dress and he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And a man loves a woman in a dress. He's never complained about that. And a man loves a feminine woman. I mean, on a first date, I got these new fake nails and it's just like a magnet to scratch back. So I just feel like it's the kindness in me, like to touch a man's shoulder to, there's all this like, well, I can't do that because then he thinks I like him. How about he just thinks you're nice and you're kind? But if we're adult enough, we can also have a discussion at the end of a date or a third date and say, I think you're great, but it's just not the right fit. So sadly, there's this hardness, but yet I'm going to be hard and pretend to be like you rather than a femininity and an honesty.
Right.
And I was just texting with a guy and he's great. I adore him. He makes me laugh, which is one of the rules, the 4 things I think women should be looking for. And not a lot of guys make me laugh because I'm kind of old school. So when they're raunchy, I'm like, that wasn't funny. Or they act like my children and that's not funny either. But so he's so busy right now. And I'm like, I adore you, but you're too busy for what I'm looking for. He goes, you being so honest is so sexy. I like you even more now. And honestly, that's a good thing. Like men love it. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to tell you what I think and what I think of us in the future. And it never backfires.
Right. Exactly. Be authentic and go with your instincts as to what feels right for you rather than try to do something that you think they would want you to do or to do what they would do.
Right.
Because I think as a human being, that's why we're made differently anyway.
No,
right?
I love a confident woman.
Yeah.
I love an independent woman, and I love an honest woman.
Mm-hmm.
And those are attractive qualities.
But there's a difference between being just a bitch versus being independent and confident.
Right.
And knowing what you want. Yeah.
There's caring and there's the confidence that is cocky, and then there's a confidence that's caring. And that's really, I'm writing a book right now on 7 Steps to Sexy. And so I kind of had a metamorphosis. A little bit about me. I used to be married to a pastor. We were missionaries in China for 6 years. I loved my kids. I loved my life, but I was on the frumpy side, which is fine. But I've really kind of spun out of that and built a confidence in who I am, trusted my gut more. I dress a little bit better. I'm more fun in my personality, and I'm going for my dreams a lot more now since I've been divorced. Things are harder, but I'm happier. And in this process, I've really learned that, when the very first time someone ever called me sexy was hard for me to grasp because my ex-husband never did. It just wasn't allowed. Okay, we were part of the faith, and that was just, I'm not one of those girls. But sexy isn't about wearing sexy dresses and showing everything off.
Right.
Sexy is the number one thing I think that sexy is confidence. So confidence is the new black, but it's that caring confidence. And so my second chapter is all about how sexy is in your kindness. And so that people don't get this idea that I'm all that in a bag of chips. Like, sweetheart, you're not. There's a million, because everything's so disposable, there's another girl who's always going to be prettier than you, skinnier than you. But that's really not what men are looking for. They're not.
Right.
So, I mean, there's so much we could talk about. And I think boyfriend needs to speak up here. What are men looking for? We women want to know.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you what men are looking for. I don't think I'm the typical man.
I don't know. I'm looking at you. You seem spot on.
So yeah, guys want the whole package though.
Mm-hmm.
So we do, like you said earlier on, we are interested in the image at first.
Mm-hmm.
But then after we get past the image, it's who's underneath it.
Right.
So is there a confidence? Is there an independence? Is there an honesty? Is there someone there that I can see building a relationship with?
Substance.
And I think it takes, you can't put an age on it, but there's a point where a guy makes that turn, because when you're younger, it's just about having fun and dating as much as you can and getting around. Then there's finally a turn where you're like, maybe I should start figuring out what I want long term in my life and who I want to spend my life with. And that's when those qualities, when you really start to pay attention to those qualities and you get past just the surface. Well, but it takes a while to get to that point.
And let's talk about that, because post-divorce men return to that.
Do they?
Oh my goodness. They return to the, I want to date the young hot girl. And I use the word girl because they're girls. Like some of these men are dating girls that are their daughter's ages, or they're dating girls who've never had life experiences. And some of these, men that we work with or guys that I know, they're 50 and they want to have fun. So I'm going to go date a 27-year-old. Well, okay, her life, I call it the picture frame. Her life picture frame, her wall of pictures is nothing like yours. And so that might be fun for a while. And sometimes I call that mutually beneficial. If it's feeding your ego and it's whatever, I'm not here to judge, but let's be honest about the depth of character. Unless someone's well-versed and schooled and traveled and, even taking care of children creates such a depth of character in a woman that most men are actually extra attracted to that. If you're a good mom, if you're a bad mom, that's questionable. But when you're a good mom, I've had guys come over and they're like, okay, I like you better now. Because there's that depth of character that they'll see in me that they'll never see when we're out having drinks. And I think that's a huge thing right now is really asking yourself, well, who's in my picture frame and what age appropriation is correct for me to date?
Yeah. I have to admit, after my divorce, I went out on dates and things, and I dated people that were younger than me. And it's fun. You might go out and have fun and, enjoy some conversation and stuff like that. But long term,
right,
that's very challenging because my references come from different places. My other friends are at different places. My life experience is so different. And one of the challenges that I ran into, years back was that I've always tended to look younger than what I actually am. And then being in the theater, I was around a lot of people who are all considerably younger than me. So therefore, they had no idea how old I was, when they would approach me or vice versa. So I realized, though, I learned that that's probably not the best case for a long-term relationship because it's right. It's like, what are my life goals versus what's your life goals?
Exactly. And so another kind of word picture I use is, when we're young and we met somebody, it's like two entrepreneurs coming together and they're going to build this dream business together, right? Do you remember that first marriage, hypothesis? Oh, yeah, it's going to be peaches and roses. And then you get divorced. And then you've got yourself, which is company A, and then you go meet a guy and he's company B, and it's a merger at this point. You got to do the math. You got to see if it's going to work. You got to ask yourself multiple questions. Do you like this? Do you want to sit in traffic to get to his house? Or his kids even quality kids? Are yours? So it's a whole different ideology behind dating round two. And I try to get people a little bit on board. You should be much more practical in the head. And so I have ideas that I teach men and women. They're separate. So I'm going to go over the women one right now and tell me what you guys think. So these are the 4 things that I think women should be looking for when they're dating. And it's different than men in different order.
Dating post-divorce.
Dating post-divorce because it's more of a strategy at this game. It's not just we're going to find somebody. Nope, you are not just going to find it. You need to be looking. So the number one thing you should be looking for is his effort. I cannot tell ladies enough about if he is just not that into you, he's just not that into you. Especially at this age, these men should be much more mature and they should be going after what they want. And a lot of these guys have lots of choices. So if he's really not that after you, then skip him.
Right.
He's not worth your time.
Agreed.
I think boyfriend had something to say on that.
No, I think it's funny about the effort thing because that's that turning point. Guys don't put a lot of effort into because they can, like you said, there's always someone else and I can go to somebody else and it's fun and shuffling it around. But once you make that turn, if you do want those things in your life, you have to make the effort.
You'll go get it.
And that's a learning process for us.
And
it is. Because all right, I make the turn. Now I want to date someone with substance. But then you're like, I've never had to put effort in like this before, and how do I do it? So it's a change in our mindset as we make that turn and try to become that person for the new relationship.
Well, and tell the guy what you want. Men don't read minds.
No, we don't.
Am I right?
No,
okay,
no,
ladies.
No, we do not.
I wish he would just. Well, stop. Tell him what you would like him to do. Tell him what effort to you would look like, rather than just dumping him after first date.
Right.
And the cutie that I like right now, he just wasn't giving me the effort because he couldn't. But I said, look, I want more effort out of you. And sure enough, boom. I said, this is what I would need from you. And he was like, happy to oblige. Just didn't realize it. So I think most men they're so willing. That's what I love about our male clients. They're so willing to change and, new outfits, whatever it is that we think they need to kind of grow in. They're willing to do it. So ladies, tell him what that would look like in your life.
And mean what you say what you mean, but don't say it mean.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
That's a great point.
Right?
And be careful on the texting. You know, the texting can go bad. Just keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Like, think in terms of 10 words or less.
Yeah.
You know?
Men are simple creatures.
It's very
not a
simple.
bad thing.
And we don't have, what I've learned with the boyfriend is the minute I start talking too much and I'm over explaining, like he's checked out. He's like, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
You know, if I can be concise and economical with my words and get my point across in a kind way, he's like, got it.
Right.
And it never has to come up again.
It's like telling my kids about their chores. I literally just write it on like an Etch-a-Sketch nowadays, leave the house, I come home, it's done. Because I'm not nagging them. Right. And they love it.
And the other thing I noticed too is that, I forgot what it was. He probably knows what I'm going to say. Anytime something comes up, like address it immediately versus like, oh, I like it when you do that. Be okay with giving a compliment when you're appreciative of something that they're putting effort in. Because if we don't, what I learned, then that stops.
Right.
And then it's like, oh, what happened to all of that? Like, I really liked that.
And, you know, when we send clients out on dates, we send email reminders like, make sure you thank him at the date, thank him the next morning. Like, he spent his time and money on you. And yeah, I know you spend a lot of money to color your hair, so it equals out. But it's just being thankful.
But again, that's like a business transaction. Yeah. So when you have an interview, you send a thank you note.
Exactly.
You send these things.
Right.
And that shows that you're
part of the process.
Adult and you're playing by the rules.
Yeah, I love that. It's like that thank you note on a business interview.
Yeah.
You know, and so going back to the 4 focuses of women. So number 1, effort. Ladies, make sure he's giving the effort. And ultimately, in return, you will give some effort back. You know what I'm saying? The bonus. So number 2 thing that I look for is, and I've asked couples that are successful, like, what makes you guys successful? Because I believe in marriage. I want to get married. You know, I'm pro marriage and staying together in a coupleship. And they always say, we laugh together. You know, it's the old couple that says, we still laugh together. And I think that's it, because life's tough. You know, post-divorce, you're raising kids alone, ex-husbands frustrate you, whatnot. You need to enjoy life with somebody. So are you enjoying life? Like I've been, you know, dating this one guy once, and all we did was bicker. And he kept saying, well, this is just part of the process of getting to know each other. And I'm thinking, really? Because I shouldn't be bickering with you already. He was so adamant, like, but I so dig you and I love everything about you. I'm like, why are we bickering then? And I mean, I can bicker, so I'm not going to say I can't, but I'll own mine.
Yeah.
But I think it's just having fun and laughing, and everybody laughs to different things. I mean, this is your field right here. So
yeah.
What do you see the beauty of laughing together as a couple is?
It releases so much tension. Like, I notice if one of us is having a stressful day, the other one will usually find something humorous about it or get a giggle out of it, which sparks, you know, that's contagious. Right. And it's almost like, oh, I have to step back and go, yeah, that's kind of funny. Or, you know, we always try to bring like, even in like when we've had you know, there's something funny that usually comes out of it somewhere that we both have to step back and go, okay, well, that was just kind of weird. Am I right?
Yeah.
And we usually find something to laugh about each day, but we notice that it's about little things. You know, like the more time we spend doing little things together in life rather than only coming together for big planned out date nights. Big planned out date nights are great, but really you're missing out on all the other chunks of life that we live. And if we can't go to the grocery store and enjoy ourselves and have a good time and have conversation and laughs about that, then something's missing.
I love that. That's a great reminder of life, day to day. I mean, everything nowadays is big dates, big dates. Yeah. And
it's like we don't need a limo and a fancy dinner, and because life isn't a limo and a fancy dinner every day unless, you know, we're billionaires, which we're not yet. And so,
this is going somewhere.
This is going somewhere. So this podcast, but it's everyday living that 24/7. You're constantly, your car breaks down, a tire, you know, how do we incorporate this into our day and make fun with it? And let's take a bike over to the car. Let's fix it. Let's then go have lunch. You know, it's those things. Instead of making it a problem or a challenge to work around, make it something we do.
But laughing through it. So we try to laugh through those moments and just make it work as best we can.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you for getting me on track.
Yeah. It's my job.
And then the number 3 focus I help women with is reality. So this is the kicker. I mean, literally,
they don't live in reality?
Well, right? I want a 10. You know, I hate to use the number 1 to 10 scale, but you know, we talked about this earlier as the perfect woman and, you know, the unicorn.
Yeah.
You've seen that crazy hot matrix, right? Mm-hmm. So all us women think every man wants a 10 and no, because she's crazy. Like that whole crazy hot matrix says the 10 is the crazy woman. But there's that unicorn around the 8.5 scale and she's the great mom and she can, you know, she can cook a good dinner and she can handle herself and she can dress well on a, you know, when she needs to, but she can be great in the bedroom and she can rub her man's feet when that's called for and, you know, make his mom a pie. I think that's life. And so but the reality is everybody wants a 10. Every woman wants tall, dark, and handsome with 6-pack abs. And I just want to look at them and say, sweetheart, I love that you think Ken was cute when you were a kid, but that's not realistic. And not only that, they want him to come to her all the time. The reality is, would you be willing to sit in traffic for him? Would you be willing to deal with his kid that's, you know, on drugs right now? Can you sit through that with him during his life? And that's like the big deal. That's that merger part. That's where you got to do the math. And, you know, everyone wants fairy tales. And I mean, I'm all for fairy tales.
They don't exist.
No, they don't exist. And so stop, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, literally, we have guys that are like, I want a 10. And I'm like, lose the 10 pounds off your belly and then call me back. And let's work on this, you know? And so just that realistic expectation really needs to come down.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And I think I've also recognized that when I was dating and stuff, I have to step back and look at what am I presenting? What am I bringing to the table as well? Because if I'm not putting in my effort and taking care of myself, and what does my life look like to somebody else? How can I expect that someone else is going to do the same, you know? So we attract where our mind is.
You attract what you are is what I always say. You attract
what you are. And it's a kind of a reflection.
But you also said real. So you've mentioned fairy tales and unicorns and all these things, but then it comes down to being real. What's a real day look like? What does a real date look like where it's not a big event? Can you deal with those things? And for some reason, if those first, from my experience back in the day, if those first 3 dates weren't like these big, extravagant things, then they weren't interested and you get ghosting, you get all these other things that happen. And I'm like, that's not real, especially when we're that young. We're not billionaires. We can't do these big things all the time. Let's just enjoy each other's company and try to learn about each other to see if this can work. But for some reason, there's a disconnect from at least some of the women that I've dated in my past about how to make it work past those first 3 dates and how to actually be realistic on those first 3 dates also. So.
Yeah, because another serious committed relationship isn't just about being wined and dined all the time. A serious relationship encompasses everyday life, laundry, groceries, washing your car.
He's going to love you on a bad hair day.
Right? No makeup, you know, binge eating ice cream, whatever it is.
Yeah, you just yelled at your kids and he saw you. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
You know, having a bad day when you come home from work, all of those things. What does that look like? Because if setting expectations of what is a relationship to you, what is that picture?
Well, and that's why I like my 3-3-3 rule. The whole 3 dates, give a guy 3 dates. And then the next 3 weeks, that's when you should be doing more life together. Going on that bike ride or maybe visiting a family member. And I'm all for letting my family and friends meet who I'm dating. Like, tell me now what you think. Because I'm not wasting any time. Like, my kids meet guys. No problem. They know mom's dating. My kids are older. They're smart. And, you know, I love their opinion about the guys I date. And it's always an open conversation. You know, mom's going to be gone one night. They're, well, where were you? Who you're with? Okay, this is where I was. This is who I was with. What do you think of this? So I think that's better to bring it in early. Some people have different opinions on that, but you got nothing to hide.
Yeah.
So get the opinions of others. And you know what? I feel like my friends and family have always been spot on. Sadly, I've not always listened.
Yes, this is true in my case as well. Seeing people in their natural habitat is very helpful.
Yeah. So those 3 extra weeks is for that time of like, okay, reality here, reality check.
It's like going to the zoo. Right? How do people live? How do these animals exist? What do they do in the morning?
What does your pin look like?
Right?
And then
What's for?
The number 4 for women is chemistry. Okay, you can have chemistry with some hot guy and it can go nowhere fast. So don't trust chemistry. For women, I don't let that be the wooing thing. Now, I know for men, it's different. So I actually for men, I think chemistry needs to lead. So it's a totally opposite spectrum right there. But yes, I do think women need to just, I want to date the buck and bronco. Well, sweetheart, sweet love is going to ultimately be what you're making at 80.
That's what you have a pool boy for. Get a pool.
So let me ask you this. So I meant to ask this earlier, but you mentioned that divorced men typically go back to the younger women. So to me, that tells me it's a cyclic process. We go in this round and roundabout thing. So we go from the young women to finally getting to the point where we want to find quality, but then that falls apart and we go back to the young women and go round and round. So there's that cyclic process. How, and you just mentioned that chemistry is important for men. So how do those two things, do they tie together, obviously? Or
I think there's a lot of irony in this. So I think for men who are post-divorce, hitting the 40s, 50s, 60s, it's ego stroking. I mean, they need a little ego stroking because they've just come out of something horrible and they just not too sure about themselves. So I think really that's what it is. I think deep down they know they're dealing with younger women who, don't have the depth of character. And they always do come back to an older, more quality woman.
That was my next question.
I think
how
that's
many come
common.
back, or how many actually stay with
Because here's the truth of it, is that all these younger boys want older women right now.
Yeah.
Because they know, they're like, I don't even want this younger girl. I want a woman who knows what she likes in the bedroom, out of the bedroom. And so these older men go for the young girls, and they're like, they're just disgruntled about this whole, like, well, she doesn't, I brought her to my company party and she, got drunk and threw up everywhere. Well, it's like, yeah, well, you're dating a girl, okay?
Right.
She's like not quite mature yet, sweetheart. Or, everybody stared at us because she's, dressed like terrible. And there's quality women who are out there and younger, but to say that they have the life experience of a woman who has depth of character is different.
Yep.
So that's my philosophy on that. And so they usually do, someone knocks them in the head or they have an embarrassing experience with an age inappropriate person. And, some people say, well, age is all in the mind. At the end of the day, it's all in the life experiences. And I did date a guy who was much older than me, and he looked older than me. And guess what? People stared at us all day long. Now, he and I had a great time together. Most classy man I've ever dated. But at the end of the day, people stared at us all day long. And it got annoying because it didn't look right. And one of the things that I do as a matchmaker, I always think, how would this client look with this client in a wedding photo? How would this client look with this client at a family party? Would it look right?
So the presentation still matters.
It does. I think it really does, because then I don't know, because when you present yourself to start, that's already a confirmation of who you are. Are you stylish? Are you just more casual, relaxed? I think it already just speaks to who you are. And so when I look at two people in photos and put them together, I think it really continues the idea of like we're both kind of on that similar idea.
Yeah.
line.
You ever notice that couples that have been together for a really long time tend to look like a lot alike?
I mean,
and it's kind of like people who buy dogs. Their dog tends to look a lot like the
so
not
true.
It's very similar.
Do you have a dog?
Right? No, I don't.
Do you?
No.
No.
Okay, I do.
But if I have one, it's going to be the cutest damn dog you've ever seen.
Not cuter than my dog.
It's going to look just
That's our
like
Russell
me.
girl. So yeah, I just, it's all a process. And I think men learn after they do that one. They learn what they really want.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people are still cheating out there. I mean, I've seen that, where the guy's with like this awesome woman and he's out there cheating still. Again, that's ego and that's neediness.
But like you said, women cheat just as much or more. We've
cheat
done
a
some,
lot. They
We've done some
do.
statistical
Women
research, and women cheat just as much or more
They
than men.
do.
They're getting around.
They are, and I think a lot of it, especially in the marriage part, these guys are working hard, bringing home the bacon, giving them everything they want. They're like, I want you home now. And he's like, well, lady, I'm out there working like you wanted me to. You got every purse you wanted. You got the car you wanted. And now she's like, you're never home. You're never home. So I think it's so different than when my parents lived.
It's even that a lot of women are now in the workforce, whereas 50 years ago, we weren't in the workforce. And now women are out there. They're around men. They're in a different environment. They're confident.
They're rocking what they're doing.
Right. And they have a bigger chance of meeting somebody than they do at a stay-at-home parent or spouse than back in the day. So, there's a lot of different things that can play into that. So it's just so
Society's very
Yeah.
different than
It's
it was.
Very
everything's
different.
changing.
And I have clients that will say, well, I was talking to my mom about dating. And I'm like, stop right there. I love your mom. I'm sure she's fabulous, but she did not date when you dated.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different culture right now. It's like my parents did not raise kids with cell phones in their hands.
Right.
And
it's so different.
my parents are like, well, tell them to put them down. I'm like, I get it, Mom, but we're all on Instagram together and we're trying to see who got the most likes because that's how I spend quality time with my kids because it's important in their life. So you really have to be careful where you're getting your ideas from. And there's so many great dating coaches out there. I mean, I do some dating stuff. There's Adam LaDolce, and he's adorable. He's all about, being the sexy confidence is his website. And he's old school. So I love listening to him. He's got that old school value, like women, just like I say, the man should be approaching you, let him give some effort. But again, on our side as women, we need to be giving that little bit of love back, a little bit of like, give him the next step. I'm a big believer too. And tell him what you want next. Tell him exactly like, hey, I want to go on another date with you. On a date, if I'm with a guy, I'll be like, I really like you.
Yeah.
Then he knows.
It's
honest.
clear. Yeah.
Well, being honest, but then also the positive feedback. So I know what you want, and I know how to go to make this happen, and that makes our job a little easier. And we will do that, and probably a little more because we know the direction to go.
Right.
So that helps us out. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, it is helpful.
You should do that more.
I don't tell you enough.
Sticky notes everywhere.
Didn't you say our first few dates were like a job interview?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny. When I do first few dates, I don't remember anything they tell me. It sounds terrible, but it's because I'm trying to get a feel more for how we do together. I'm not trying to remember every kid's name that he has, and I'm not trying to remember his last trip. I just want to like be with them. Rather than like so interview them that I'm like, okay, because then I go home and process it all. Well, I don't know. He talked about 4 kids and I don't know if I can handle 4. It's like, stop. Let me just be with this guy. And, after 3 dates, I do have a rule. After 3 dates, I want him to know my kids' names. Like I'll kind of do a little mini test. So, I mean, I need to, by date 3, kind of be a little bit more focused on the details of his life, especially the tight details, especially family, things like that. But first date, I'm just trying to get to know you, feel you out. I don't need to remember all this stuff. So just kind of relax more on a first date is definitely one of the things I say.
Just see if you have fun together.
Yeah.
See if you have fun together. And I can, like in my mind, I can visually remember some of my funnest first dates, And ironically, now what do you guys think of first date rules? Do you think they should be like at a restaurant? Drinks or dinner. I mean, some people are coffee.
I think that's my problem. I never had rules for a first date. Like,
do you have a
what they
standard? I should
be.
call them standards. Like, as a woman, I actually have a standard of what I would expect for a first date.
For me, it depends on the person.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the day when I was dating, some fit into the drinks dinner kind of category, and some fit into the activity category.
So how do you distinguish that?
Just, I guess that first conversation,
Okay.
how or how I know them from either a group setting or whatever, or if it's just meeting randomly, how that first conversation went and what sort of vibe I picked up from them and what things that they were talking about that they enjoyed to do. And that would give me an idea of how to plan that first date. So I never had any standards. It was more of it was built from that initial meeting and conversations.
So you creatively planned accordingly.
Yeah.
Okay. So I had a guy once take me on a mountain biking first date. Now I'm athletic. So, I think he was like trying to do the, oh yeah, you're athletic, I'm athletic too kind of thing. And I hated it. I hated every moment of it. I felt so unpretty. Like on a first date, I've found out that I want to look pretty. I want to be presentable. I want to wear high heels. I actually like going to dinner because I like the process of dinner and watching how he treats people. So that's a big one for me is I want to see how you treat my server. And if we just got drinks, it would be too casual for me. I like the idea of a whole dinner that you've committed to me for the next hour and a half. And it's not this like, well, let's just get drinks and see from there. I don't like that, actually. I feel like that's an as if I maybe want to spend time with you. It's like, well, I just did my hair and makeup, got all pretty for you, and you're just going to debate on the date whether you want to keep hanging out with me, which I already know you're going to want to, but I don't like that. I like the idea of a man saying, hey, I want to take you to dinner. I like the pomp and circumstance of just knowing we're going to sit down, I'm going to watch his actions and behaviors, and just have more of an intimate setting. And I found that I like sitting at a bar next to him.
Really?
I feel like it opens up conversation way more. They say that men talk much more when you're seated next to them. Like if you're in a car, they talk more rather than across. Ladies like to sit across and get that feeling. But I think men open up a little bit more if you're at a bar, or if you're seated next to them and kind of do the side turn.
Interesting.
Thoughts?
Well, no, I could see that. I've never even thought about it that way before. But the intimacy of one-on-one looking at each other may be a little frightening for a guy during that first date. So sitting next to them, you're almost like a buddy now, and I can open up and just be like, "Hey, what about this? And what about that?"
Yeah.
And then that may open up conversation a little more.
Yeah, I actually like it when a guy sits next to me versus across from me. Like when we sit, I prefer that. And I do. There is one thing that will cue me in is if someone's serious or not about dating is if they call me rather than text me.
Ooh, huge right there. I love it.
Despise it when a man texts me for the first exchange.
But that is an age dependent variable.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the younger ones. From what my friends,
a lot of people prefer texting.
Yeah, they'd rather just. If she didn't text me,
for me,
I didn't text her.
Like it's one thing to be like, hey, nice to meet you or whatever.
Right.
But the call where it says I'd like to take you out, and the effort that it takes to make a phone call versus sending a text, I think speaks loudly. And there have been times when I've exchanged my number with a guy, and I will say, if you text me, I will not respond. And I kind of made it clear, and I tested that out.
He doesn't read your mind.
Texting is great when you're like, hey, I'm 5 minutes, or I'm outside. Right. Where are you? I can't see you, or something like that. Or as you get farther into the relationship and like, okay, I know they're not going to be able to speak right now and I need to get a message across or whatever. But when it comes down to establishing that initial rapport, a phone call goes miles because you don't misinterpret tone. It takes effort. And it's just one of those small things that speaks volumes about its respect.
I love it. Right. Well, I just read a book that said the title is called Real Men Don't Text.
Yeah.
It's that old school idea of pick up the phone and make a phone call. And here's the deal is a lot of things start via text. So if you're on an app, let's say you are on Bumble, okay, and the guy starts saying something and you say something back. If he doesn't within two text combos or two text bubbles say, hey, can I get your number? Okay, well, I'm not here to make text buddies. And I think most people in our age and stage of life or dating are not. They don't have that freedom and that time. Then as a woman, I'd say, hey, if you'd like to give me a call, let me know and I'll give you my number. So I open up that door. Sometimes these guys are nervous because girls have been like, why'd you ask for my number so fast? But if you're that girl who, yes, appreciates a phone call, appreciate a man who has what I say, the balls to do it, then let him know, because I think a lot of guys are nervous about it. And for the guys who are doing it and saying, hey, I'd love to rather call you on the phone. Thank you.
Yeah.
And for all the women who can't handle it, you know what? Grow up and let a man call you.
But there's a courtesy in how you ask for the number. Just don't be like,
true,
give me your number. You gotta,
hey,
like you said, I'd love to call you and have an actual conversation.
Yep.
Can you please provide me your number?
Would you be comfortable with giving me your phone number?
So there's some.
And then ladies, you can be kind back and be like, I'm not comfortable yet. Or
there's like text etiquette or dating etiquette.
I think nowadays, because there are so many people who are more comfortable texting, I think that's almost a really good question to say. Would you prefer I text or call? Like, how would you prefer I reach out? Like, just like you would for a job interview.
Right.
How would you prefer I follow up with you? If you would ask the same thing.
Well, and then that brings the idea of like, okay, do you Facebook friend them? So, I mean, this whole social media thing is a whole new gamut of dating too. I mean, when we put clients together, we don't give any first names anymore because we found that people were searching online. Because if you go to
first names or last name?
Either.
Oh, okay.
None of the above anymore. We put a letter.
Nice.
Next, we show a profile. So the beauty of our matchmaking company at Sync is that, and I started working with matchmakers 5 years ago when I became single, and I started to be in all their databases. So I'd go on dates with these great guys. They weren't the right fit, but great guys. And the beauty of it is there's accountability. So when you're with a matchmaker, the next day you go on the date, they set everything up. You get to call them back and say what worked and what didn't, what you thought about the guy. And then he actually does the same for you. So you get feedback, which is kind of good. Hey, you were a great date. He loved what you wore. He said you chewed your gum too loud, or you talked about your kids too much. Maybe don't talk about your kids so much on a first date. All good feedback, okay? Because it's a skill set. Like job interviews are a skill set. If you want to get the job, dating is a skill set. And so I've been doing this for 5 years. A year and a half ago, I joined Sync Matchmaking. But that's the whole thing is when we send a profile, you get to look at it, see if you're even interested in the picture and the person and the bio that we write. And if you are, we ask the other person and then you can go on a date together. Now there are matchmakers who don't send bios, so you kind of have to blind date it. But we found we'd send out a profile and they'd figure out by friending us on Facebook, going through our Facebook, trying to find that person, and then doing all this pre-knowledge before the date. And it just sometimes just ruined it.
Yes.
Especially as a matchmaker. I'm like, I've done all this work. I've really thought it through. And I think you guys will have a great time because, A, B, and C. And then they go and do this. And we're like, oh. And then they'll even reach out sometimes on Facebook before the date. And so we've slapped a couple hands and it's not happening anymore. But so the question is, do you pre-find the person before you go on a date?
No.
What do you think?
No.
I've been on dates where they've Googled me before.
Right?
Yeah.
And how does that feel?
Weird. Not good, because then they come in and it's less organic. Like you said, if a woman wants an organic sort of thing, at least let us have a date and get to know each other face to face. Don't come in there and be like, so what was this about?
Yeah.
And you're like, don't put me on, I don't want to be investigated. I'm not on trial here. Let's just talk about who we are instead of having to.
That's right. Because you didn't tell me your last name. And I asked you, what is your last name? And you're like, I don't want you Googling me. And immediately a red flag went up. And I'm like, why? What did you do? And I said, I just want your last name because if I'm going out on a date and you're picking me up, I have to cover myself and protect myself because I don't know who you are. I'd like a last name. So I always tell a friend where I'm going to be and who I'm going to be with. I think that...
For dating without a matchmaker,
yes.
I highly suggest it. Do your research. But if you have a matchmaker, you don't have to because it's already vetted out. But I think there is some wisdom in that. And always like turn your, what is it, where it follows you? You have a girlfriend that you turn on there. She can follow you all night. The tracker, right? I'm tracking my kids, tracking everything. Right. But I actually think if you don't have a matchmaker who's vetting all that out for you, then yes. Do a little bit of research, feel comfortable, but don't ruin it.
Yeah, but that was my reason why, because I've been Googled before and I didn't want, I'm like, let's just get to know each other. I don't want to have to deal
Where'd you guys go for your first date?
We went out to a really nice fishing company.
Okay, here in Long Beach?
In Los Alamitos.
Yeah, Long Beach.
Yeah.
Los Alamitos,
Yeah, it was awesome. And it was interesting because he didn't want me to know, and I said, I will respect the thing to Google. But I just Googled just to make sure that there's a thing so you can make sure you didn't have a record.
Really?
Yeah.
She did it anyway.
And I did.
Okay.
But I didn't read anything and I didn't, because I respected that he asked that thing. But I made sure I was safe. Mm-hmm. And to me, that was super important at the time. Sounds great. Some people may be like,
but there was another guy with my name that was.
There is someone with his same name that is like, I kept looking at the picture. I'm like, he doesn't look anything like that. Like, I'm like, could that be a costume? And I'm like, nope, it's not. It's a totally different person. Whew, I'm safe.
Right.
So I totally understand it. And then also the boyfriend's not on social media or anything, or your imprint on the internet world is very,
very small.
That's a good thing. I find that those are guys that are busy with life.
Yeah. And you know what? I also noticed that, and I don't know, I think it's smart. I love what you're saying, going back to like not finding people before a first date and finding information out. I actually read somewhere that because people do this so much, they feel they have some sort of immediate bond with you and they're farther into the relationship than you actually are. Because now they've stepped in, they've seen your family, they've seen maybe your home environment, and without ever meeting you, they feel as though they've known you, and it jumps and fast forwards your relationship in a fantasy land. That more so than it should in real life.
See that. You know how guys always talk about that crazy woman who they went on a date with? Like, that would be her.
Yeah.
That would be her who's like,
in my past.
See, everyone's got that story. And I was talking to a buddy the other day and he's like, yeah, my ex-girlfriend just shows up at my house. I'm like, what do you mean she just shows up? He's like, yeah, she just shows up, knocks on the door. So he was getting a spray tan. Okay, this is a great story of how you shouldn't show up, lady. Like, be polite, date like an adult. She shows up. They've been broken up for a year. She shows up. He was getting a spray tan. But he left the spray tan lady there to shut down all her stuff, and he went to take the dogs on a walk.
Oh.
Well, crazy girlfriend comes over, and she's like, who are you? And the spray tan lady's like, who are you? Like, she didn't know what to do. So sure enough, she like walks away, ex-girlfriend walks away and sends a text like, I just met your stupid new girlfriend. I mean, how sad. I would never want to be that woman. So... just don't be that crazy woman, that crazy ex. Too many
be
of
the
those
spray
stories.
tan lady.
Yeah,
be like, what do you mean, who am I? I'm his wife.
I'm am whoever he wants me to be.
Right?
Even better.
Today, I'm spray tan. Tomorrow.
So it's just, there's so many things to do right that we can be doing better as adults. And a lot of our kids are watching us. So there's always that conversation about dating, and I always tell my son, well, you're not taking anybody on a date until you can pay for that. And if you're ever out with ladies, you offer to pay for everybody. There's things I'm teaching him now to be a gentleman.
That's really nice.
For when he's out and about and, he's in his teens, he's in high school. So they could do the group dates. And, I'm like, be the man with the plan, plan it and pay for the ladies and just be that cool guy that does that. And one of the things I do love is nobody does this anymore is sends a drink. When was the last time you were at a bar and somebody sent you a drink? That is so fun. I've only had it done once to me. I've been single for 6 years and I've sat at a lot of bars, I've had plenty of guys look, they do the look, you smile, they smile, and then nothing happens. Just drives me batty. And I've sent a drink once and that was fun. So that's a fun, easy, out and about dating tip. Just send a drink.
That's very easy because all it requires is just a thank you.
Right.
No obligation, no expectations, right?
And then you can tell the bartender to say who it is or not say who it is. And then you can go over if you want. And you can watch all that thing go down and how it plays out and then decide. On both ends, I think if a guy or a girl sends a drink, I think it's a super fun way to make a connection in a strange environment. And then I also have one more thought is just, dating in your neighborhood. That can be dangerous.
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. I have purposed out of 6 years to not date local. It don't shit where you eat, but, and that's a tough one. That's another pickle. And then putting photos on social media. When do you do that? There's so many things that we can talk about.
Yeah.
And I got way more stories than I even shared today.
How does someone go about finding a matchmaker? How do they go about hooking it up?
The beauty of, so I work for Cinque, CINQE.com. There's 3 of us. We're based out of Orange County, LA, San Francisco, and Silicon Valley. And we have a website. It's great. We're for 35 and up. So we are that older matchmaking company. We prefer 10 to 15 years difference in our matches. Check us out on the website. And I'm Coach Katy, the dating coach. Our Instagram is rocking. But I always tell people, just Google matchmaker in LA or whatever city that you're in. And you'd be amazed. Just get in a database. For women, it's usually free. In our database, it's free for men and women. I, as a matter of fact, have more female clients right now that have paid me to find men for them. And I am always like, gentlemen, do you even know how many beautiful women we have? And they're beautiful and they're smart and they're hardworking. And so I do like to say that, typically the clients, our clients are boss. They're not this fluffy woman that sits at a yacht club and drinks champagne all day. She is a hardworking, great mom. So we our fill of database members are just rock stars, both on men and women end. So find a matchmaker that looks comfortable to you, that you say, okay, I could be in their database. Get in their database. It's just another opportunity to meet people. And then for us, go ahead, give me a call. It's on the website. You can give us a call. I'm KATY@CINQE.com. I do a lot of date coaching. I love styling. That's one of my favorite things to do. I believe in the perfect man outfit for the first date.
Ooh.
So what is that?
Yeah, I want to hear this.
So it's crisp, dark blue jeans, fitted. Mm-hmm. And yes, I want to see the man package. Okay. You want to see my booty? I want to see, we all have things we want to
So this is for a man.
This is for a man. That dark blue jeans. And if you don't know where to go, Banana Republic, simple, easy. That's a good starting point. And then the crisp white shirt. I love a fitted shirt on a man. Fitted. There's a lot of men who wear their clothes way too big, not sized right. Get a seamstress to make it fitted for you. You can get all those new, online people that come and size you and make you shirts to fit. Get the untucked shirt if you're going to wear it untucked. I prefer it tucked in. Even if you've got a little belly, I think tucked in shirts just look more put together. It's your first statement piece. And then I love a blue blazer, just a sharp blue blazer. Because it's that classic man. So I always tell guys, if you're looking to be that classic man that can kind of go anywhere and be anything, just Google George Clooney and do images. He never gets it wrong. That man is so classic. He can wear shorts and a t-shirt and look fantastic. And some guys are like, well, I'm not George Clooney and I don't wear blazers. Well, maybe you should. How's that working for you? Your last date, she was a mess. Well, maybe you were a mess,
Right.
And here's another great tip for guys. I love socks. Okay, so I love that classic simple outfit, but one of the hottest things I find are a man's socks. And I'm looking for those fun socks. I think the hottest thing is no socks. And you can be those really short socks that I can't see.
Yeah.
Because here's my analogy. if I wore a dress on a date and you asked to see my panties, okay? So socks to men are like panties to women. If my panties were full granny panties, what would you think of me? Boring, kind of, out of date.
Mhm.
So that's like a guy who wears like those thick white socks, just boring, out of date, not on par with like current. Then you got the next level of practical. He's wearing the blue socks with the blue jeans. So it's all matching. And she's wearing like the black underwear because every girl wears black underwear. Then you got the next level. You've got the girl with the hot pink lacy panties. And then you've got the guy with those fun stance socks, or they got crisscross or polka dots. And that tells you something different and unique about their personality. They're fun. They're with it. And then you've got the last level is, the guy that wears no socks. Well, I'm not going to go there, but you get you get it, right? So I think it's just a fun way on a day. I'll be like, show me your socks. And he's like, what? I'm like, yeah, show me the socks. Like, was he ready for that?
Mhm.
Was he ready for me to see some fun socks, or did he not even care?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, see,
The
that's
detail.
like for me for shoes, right? Because see, I think a pair of flip-flops are the booty call of shoes.
Ooh,
Right?
talk to me, girl.
They're easy, they're convenient, but they're never there for you in the long run. Right.
But with dark blue jeans and a crisp white shirt and a blue blazer, I don't know.
No socks.
Okay, so yeah, it's a little too informal, but
Yeah.
I think it's just a fun way to kind of see a deeper
Yeah.
personality.
So in your line of work, how much success do you have? Not you particularly, but just in general.
For your clients.
Say if your client was joining up a match
Mhm.
service, how many dates would they expect, and would they not expect, but would there the potential of a long-term relationship come out of it?
We ask for hopefully 6 months, because we like to say dating is waiting. It doesn't just appear on your door. And there's seasons in life where this lady that you think you'd like to go out with, she's dating someone, or she's not available yet, or she's going through a career change. But typically we will take a client for 6 months to a year. We've done 3 months. I've also done like a 1 month, but it's way more work, the 1 month, because we want to get to know you more and what you're looking for. And we're showing you people off our database, and you're like, well, I want this, this, and this. And then we ask you to go on the date, and then we learn more about you, and you learn more about you. And the pricing range is all over. Our website actually has our pricing on it. We're very normal. I mean, there's pricing $50,000 down to, it's just lunch.
Yeah.
So you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. But I like to say that we're kind of the Neiman Marcus of dating.
Okay.
There comes a day where people make money nowadays. I have a teacher right now. She makes great money. She's single. And she's like, Katy, I teach with women all day. So I'm not meeting guys, and I don't want to spend time online. So can you do it for me? And she's on a teacher salary. Then we have like CEOs who a golf weekend costs as much money as we do.
Right.
So, but it's the value that you put in. And one thing I will tell you is when people put their money down on this, it's like a tractor beam happens. And whether you meet someone through us, and we put you on great dates, or you meet someone throughout that time, I swear to you, it's like the universe knows. You put your money where you want your love life to be, and somehow it's going to happen. And we've had clients who we put on 3 dates, and then all of a sudden he's like, I met somebody. And I'm like, whoa, what happened? Like, were you cheating on me? And he goes, no, I was just out and about. And I started talking to this girl, and I said, it's the tractor beam. Because you said I'm ready and I'm willing and I'll pay for it. It's almost like personal training. I've been a personal trainer forever. And women are like, oh my God, I want my ass to look like yours. And I'm like, okay, pay me my hourly rate and I'll make it look like mine. Oh, I don't want to pay that. I'm like, okay, well then you're not going to get that. So it's that same principle. And it's always fun to watch. At our company, we like to say we have an 80% success rate. And that's not that everyone gets married, but that you find somebody, and then we do leave it up to you. I mean, we can't guarantee anything. Some matchmaking companies actually charge you more if you get married. There's like an added bonus that the matchmakers get if you do get married.
Wow.
I have not heard that.
So we don't do that. We just want to come to the wedding, okay?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I mean, I love what I do. Even my son was listening to my call the other day. He goes, Mom, you really love being a matchmaker. You're good at it. And it's a blast. We're only out for the best of both client and even people in our database. We want everybody to be happy and find somebody that they absolutely adore.
Nice. This is, I had never considered anything like this before, but this puts a whole new twist. And I think like being single at this age, I think I'm not single boyfriend. So, but like when you think about it, this is a great way to go because it's safe. right? Somebody's looking out for you, as we talked about. That's something to consider. Obviously, my choices in the past have been always panned out, so it's kind of cool
right?
to get somebody else to get feedback, though. I think is invaluable. To get objective feedback from an outside source could be so helpful. I mean, that's a real perk.
Well, like you said, it's a skill set, and you've got to learn that skill set to be able to make yourself attractive marketable. Marketable.
Yeah, it's all sales and marketing. It's a numbers game.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be so blunt about that, but it really is. But if you look at the fun in that, then you learn as you date, So I definitely think it's, if you kind of look at the business opportunities in dating, there's a lot of business, equality to dating as well. So.
Yeah. And I think it's to the last point you made, making that investment or commitment to your dating life, all of a sudden you're all in, right? Because the more value you place on it, the more effort you're going to put into it. And if you don't see it as of that value, same with having a great ass, if it's not of value to you, then you're not going to put in that effort.
It's like, how bad do you want it?
Right. And I think that speaks volumes. So the other nice thing to this is knowing if I'm putting that investment, so is the other person I'm meeting. They're looking too. They're looking too.
Yep.
And their mindset is in the same place. Because if you're just going to be into casual dating, chances of you spending, an exorbitant amounts, you're just going to go do that at the bar instead versus finding quality rather than quantity. So very interesting.
I tell people I'm like a realtor. Okay, you could drive around the neighborhood all week looking for the houses that are for sale, or you could come to the expert who you tell, I'm looking for this, this, and this. Go find it. I find it, bring you to the front door. There you go.
Right.
It's vetted out. I've done the work for you. And I feel like smart people use matchmakers because they spend their time making money.
Yeah.
That's what they're good at. Okay, I'm not good at fixing my car. I'm taking my car to the shop. Okay, some of you are not good at meeting people. Send that our way.
Right.
So.
Wonderful. So what we'll do is we'll put all of your contact information in the show notes, and we'll be spreading the word. And is there any last minute tips that you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Oh, I feel like I've given a lot of tips.
You have. Any last closing thoughts?
Just enjoy your dating. It's so funny when you're married. You're like, oh, look at, everybody looks at me as, oh, she's single. She must be having so much fun. And I love dating. But at the same time, I also want to be back in the, with somebody, with boyfriend. But until I am, I'm going to enjoy where I'm at. So, and that's when you're going to attract someone great because you're happy with who you are and what you're doing in life. And you're still going forward and moving forward. And so just be busy with the good stuff. Just be busy being awesome, be busy growing yourself, learning more. But go on dates, okay? Don't just do the whole it's going to find me. Go on dates. Actively be going on dates, trying to be a better date, and reach out to me. I would love to work with you as a client. So, and I promise you're going to love it. I'll be your little dating cheerleader. So
awesome.
That's awesome. Thank you very much
Thanks
for your time.
having me, guys.
Thank you so much.
Do coffee again soon.
Right? Thank you.